My beloved child, stop for a moment and listen carefully. This has been trying to reach you for longer than you realize. Long before your eyes found these words, I was already drawing near to your heart. I have been speaking through quiet moments, unexpected reminders, restless thoughts in the middle of the night, and the longing you could never fully explain. Again and again, my invitation has come to you, not to overwhelm you, but to remind you that you are deeply known and deeply loved. You may think you simply came across this message while scrolling through your day, but I invite you to consider something deeper. Your heart paused here for a reason. There have been questions you've carried that no one else could answer. There have been prayers you've whispered when no one was listening. There have been moments when you wondered if I still saw you, if I still cared, or if your waiting had any purpose at all. My child, I have seen every one of those moments. Not a single tear has escaped my notice, and not a single sincere prayer has gone unheard. Perhaps you have felt surrounded by noise. Responsibilities have multiplied. Disappointments have piled up. Your mind hath been full, yet your spirit has quietly longed for peace. You have searched for direction while feeling pulled in many different directions at once. Even when you could not recognize my presence, I remained close. I have not grown distant from you. I have been patiently reaching toward you with compassion, wisdom, and hope. Do not hurry past this moment. If you move on without listening, you may miss an opportunity to reflect on what your heart truly needs. You may overlook the encouragement that could renew your faith, the perspective that could bring clarity to your next step, or the reminder that you do not have to carry every burden by yourself. But if you stay, if you quiet the distractions for these next few moments, you may begin to recognize my faithfulness in places where you once saw only silence. You may discover that the answers you have been seeking begin with drawing near to me once again. Beloved, I know the weight you have been carrying. I know the disappointments that have made hope feel fragile and the uncertainty that has left you wondering what comes next. Yet even in those seasons, I have been at work in ways beyond your sight, strengthening your heart, shaping your character, and preparing you for what lies ahead. My care for you has never depended on your circumstances. My love has remained constant through every high and every low. So stay with me. Let your heart become still. Set aside your assumptions, your fears, and the voices that have told you you are alone. Listen with openness, because what follows is not simply another message. It is an invitation to rediscover my presence, my guidance, and my enduring love. This moment is the doorway into what I have been patiently trying to place upon your heart all along. My child, there are moments when your life looks completely normal from the outside, yet something inside you feels unsettled in a way you cannot explain. You continue through your days, handling responsibilities, speaking to people, staying busy, trying to move forward like everything is fine, but deep within you there is a quiet feeling that refuses to disappear. You notice it most when the noise fades and you are finally alone with your thoughts. It is not always loud. Sometimes it is only a small ache in your spirit, a feeling that something important has been missing for longer than you want to admit. You have tried to ignore that feeling because life taught you how to survive by staying distracted. You kept yourself occupied so you would not have to sit too long with the heaviness in your heart. But lately, even distractions have not been working the way they used to. Certain thoughts keep returning to you. Certain questions stay in your mind after everyone else has gone quiet. You wonder why your soul still feels tired even after resting. You wonder why moments that should make you happy still leave emptiness behind. I want you to understand that this feeling is not weakness. It is your heart realizing that it was never meant to live disconnected from peace. I have been closer to you than you realized during these moments. Even when you felt emotionally distant, I was still watching over you carefully. I saw the pressure you placed on yourself just to keep going. I saw how often you carried burdens without telling anyone because you did not want to become a problem for other people. You became so used to holding everything together that you forgot what it felt like to slow down and truly ask yourself how you were doing inside. What you are feeling now is not punishment. It is not abandonment. It is the beginning of your heart waking up again. There are parts of you that became quiet after disappointment, stress, and emotional exhaustion slowly built up over time. You learned how to function while ignoring your deeper needs. But your spirit cannot remain silent forever. That quiet restlessness inside you has been trying to lead you back toward healing. You do not need to pretend with me. You do not need perfect words or perfect faith before coming closer to me. I already know the thoughts you struggle to explain to anyone else. I know the version of you that smiles in front of people while quietly carrying exhaustion underneath. And still, I have not turned away from you. I am reaching toward the parts of your heart you stopped giving attention to long ago because I want you to experience something deeper than survival. I want you to experience peace again. My child, you have noticed how certain thoughts keep returning to you no matter how hard you try to push them aside. You distract yourself for a while. You focus on work, responsibilities, conversations, entertainment, or the endless noise around you. Yet when everything becomes quiet again, those same feelings slowly return to the surface. There is a reason for that. Your heart has been trying to speak to you in ways your mind keeps avoiding. I want you to stop running from those moments. Sit with them for a little while. Breathe. Listen carefully to what is happening inside you instead of immediately reaching for another distraction. You keep thinking you need to have everything under control before you allow yourself to feel deeply again. That pressure has exhausted you more than you realize. You carry expectations that were never meant to sit on your shoulders alone. You wake up already thinking about what needs to be fixed, what needs to improve, who needs your attention, and how much longer you can keep pretending that your soul is not tired. I have watched you carry emotional weight in silence because you feared slowing down would make everything collapse around you. Those recurring thoughts are not there to torment you. They are revealing the areas of your life that need truth, healing, and honesty. Some of the pain you buried years ago never truly disappeared. You simply became skilled at functioning around it. But your heart was not designed to live hidden beneath survival mode forever. You were created to feel peace, closeness, and rest within your spirit. That is why certain memories still touch you unexpectedly. That is why certain conversations linger in your mind long after they end. Your soul recognizes what your mind tries to ignore. I want you to stop treating your inner struggles like weaknesses that need to stay hidden. Bring them to me openly. Speak honestly with me. Tell me what frustrates you. Tell me what scares you. Tell me where you feel disappointed with yourself. I am not asking you to impress me. I am asking you to let me into the places you keep locked away from everyone else. You do not heal by pretending your wounds no longer exist. Healing begins when you finally stop hiding from what hurts. You have spent so much time trying to appear strong that you forgot strength sometimes looks like surrender. Let your guard down for a moment. Release the pressure to always hold yourself together perfectly. You are not failing because you feel emotionally tired. You are human, and your heart has been carrying more than it was meant to carry alone. I have not turned away from your struggle. I have been waiting patiently for you to stop fighting your inner battles in isolation and allow my peace to reach you more deeply. Do not fear the thoughts that keep returning. Pay attention to them. Some of them are revealing where your soul has been asking for healing long before you found the courage to admit it. My child, there were many moments in your life when things did not unfold the way you expected, and you immediately believed something had gone wrong. You called it failure. You called it rejection. You wondered why certain plans collapsed after you invested so much hope into them. I know how disappointed you felt when doors closed in front of you without explanation. I saw the frustration you carried when opportunity disappeared, relationships shifted, where situations suddenly changed direction after you worked so hard to hold everything together. What you could not see at the time was how many of those interruptions were actually protecting you. You were looking at the immediate pain while I was looking much further ahead. There were paths you desperately wanted to walk down that would have left your heart far more wounded than you realize now. Some people you begged to keep in your life would have slowly drained the peace from your spirit. Some opportunities you cried over losing would have led you into exhaustion, confusion, and emotional emptiness. I know it hurt when those things fell apart, but I need you to understand that not every closed door was punishment. Some of them were mercy standing quietly between you and deeper pain. You often measure your life by what worked and what failed, but I see your life differently. I see the moments you were spared from situations that looked beautiful on the surface but carried hidden weight underneath. You only saw what you wanted in those moments. I saw the full picture. I saw how much pressure you were already carrying emotionally. I saw how certain environments would slowly pull you further away from peace, even if they initially appeared exciting or promising. I want you to stop blaming yourself for every interruption that changed your direction. Not every setback happened because you were unworthy or incapable. Sometimes I slowed things down because your heart needed healing before stepping into the next season of your life. Sometimes delays protected you from moving too quickly into situations your spirit was not ready to carry yet. You were asking for answers while I was trying to preserve your peace. Think about how many times you survived situations that could have completely broken you emotionally. Think about the moments you later realized you were grateful certain things did not happen the way you originally wanted. At the time, you called those moments disappointment. Later, you recognized wisdom inside them. I need you to trust that even now, there are things happening behind the scenes that you do not fully understand yet. Release the belief that every interruption means your life is falling apart. Some interruptions are invitations to pause, reflect, and realign your heart before moving forward. Stop fighting every closed door with fear and frustration. Bring your disappointment to me honestly, then allow me to guide your steps without assuming I have abandoned you. I am still leading you even in seasons that feel uncertain. My child, you have become so accustomed to carrying exhaustion that you hardly notice how deeply it has settled into your spirit. You wake up already feeling mentally crowded before the day even begins. Your mind starts racing the moment your eyes open. You think about responsibilities, unfinished conversations, expectations, worries, and the pressure to keep everything together. You keep moving because stopping feels dangerous to you. Somewhere along the way, you started believing that resting would make you fall behind, so you trained yourself to keep pushing even when your heart quietly begged for relief. I want you to stop for a moment and pay attention to yourself honestly. Not the version of you that smiles politely in front of others. Not the version that says, "I'm fine," because it feels easier than explaining what is really happening inside. Look deeper. Your soul has been carrying weight that nobody else fully sees. You have been emotionally stretching yourself far beyond what is healthy because you thought being strong meant never slowing down. But strength without peace eventually becomes exhaustion wearing a brave face. You have spent so much energy trying to meet everyone's needs that you barely recognize your own anymore. You answer messages while ignoring your own emotional fatigue. You continue giving your attention to people even when your spirit feels empty. You keep showing up for others while privately wondering who is truly showing up for you. I see that hidden loneliness. I see the tiredness in you that sleep alone cannot fix. Come closer to me now. Stop trying to carry every burden by yourself. Release the pressure you keep placing on your own shoulders. You were never meant to live as though the entire world depends on your constant effort. Some things are beyond your control, and holding tighter will not heal them. Let your breathing slow down. Let your heart become honest. You do not need to earn rest from me. You do not need permission to admit you are weary. Part of your exhaustion comes from pretending you are unaffected by things that actually wounded you deeply. You told yourself to move on quickly. You forced yourself to stay productive. Yet pain ignored does not disappear. It simply hides beneath the surface until your spirit becomes too tired to carry it quietly anymore. That is why even small situations affect you more lately. Your heart had been overloaded for far too long. I am inviting you to stop living in survival mode. Sit with me in the quiet without rushing to fix everything immediately. Allow yourself to feel what you have been avoiding. Speak openly with me about the pressure, the sadness, the fear, and the emotional heaviness you keep swallowing every day. You do not need to impress me with strength. I would rather have your honesty than your performance. Let me reach the exhausted places inside you that have not felt safe enough to rest in a very long time. My child, even now as I uncover the exhaustion hidden beneath your daily routine, I am also calling my people to become vessels of strength for weary souls across the earth. There are hearts scrolling through these messages tonight who feel forgotten, abandoned, and spiritually empty, and through this mission I am allowing light to reach them before darkness convinces them to give up. Whoever feels my spirit stirring right now, do not ignore this moment. For I tell you, give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. What you release into my work becomes seed planted into eternal harvest, and I will cause rivers of provision, peace, and unexpected favor to flow back into your life. Some of you have prayed for purpose while carrying silent weariness, and I am showing you that even your generosity can become oil that keeps another soul from spiritually collapsing. If this message has reached the hidden exhaustion inside you, then help me carry this word further through super thanks by becoming a member or through the PayPal link waiting in the video description. I am watching not only what leaves your hand, but the obedience and compassion flowing from your heart. So now, support this mission now, and watch how I breathe fresh strength back into the weary places inside you. My child, there are wounds inside you that never truly healed. You simply became skilled at living around them. You learned how to continue smiling, working, helping others, and carrying conversations while certain parts of your heart quietly remained in pain. Most people around you never noticed because you became very good at hiding what hurt. You adapted. You distracted yourself. You convinced yourself that enough time had passed. Yet deep inside, those unresolved places still affect the way you think, trust, love, and see yourself. I want you to stop pretending those wounds no longer matter. Bring them into the light with me. Do not rush past them again. Some of your reactions today are connected to moments you thought you had already forgotten. Certain disappointments changed the way you see relationships. Certain betrayals taught you to stay emotionally guarded even when your heart longs for closeness. You tell yourself to be careful because you are afraid of feeling that kind of pain again. I understand why you became cautious, but your soul was not created to live permanently closed off from healing. You have spent years protecting yourself from situations that remind you of old hurt. Sometimes you pull away emotionally before anyone can get too close. Sometimes you overthink small changes in people because your heart remembers what it felt like to be abandoned, ignored, or misunderstood. Even now, There are moments when you question your worth because pain planted lies inside you that you quietly carried forward into new seasons of your life. Listen carefully to me now. Your wounds are not your identity. Your pain is not the final truth about who you are. Stop agreeing with every cruel thought that rises from old disappointment. Stop speaking to yourself as though you are permanently broken. I know what happened to you. I know the moments that changed your confidence. I know the conversations that stayed with you long after everyone else forgot them. But I also know your heart more deeply than anyone else ever will, and I have not given up on healing the places you stopped believing could change. Invite me into those memories instead of locking them away again. Let yourself become honest about what still hurts. Healing does not begin through avoidance. It begins when you finally allow yourself to admit that certain experiences affected you more than you wanted to acknowledge. Do not be ashamed of that. You are human. Your heart felt deeply because you cared deeply. I want you to release the belief that you must handle all emotional pain alone. Come sit with me in the quiet places you usually avoid. Speak openly with me about the wounds you still carry beneath your daily routine. You do not need to clean up your emotions before bringing them to me. Let me touch the places in your heart that have been surviving for years without truly feeling safe, understood, or healed. My child, you have spent so much time searching for relief in places that were only ever meant to distract you for a moment. You reach for things that keep your mind occupied because silence has become uncomfortable for you. You scroll, work longer hours, stay busy, overthink future plans, replay conversations, and fill your schedule because part of you is afraid of sitting alone with your own heart. Yet no matter how much noise surrounds you, the emptiness quietly returns when the day slows down again. I want you to notice how temporary those escapes have become. They comfort you for a little while, but they do not truly restore you. You feel emotionally drained even after spending time doing things you once enjoyed. Some mornings you wake up already tired because your soul has been running in circles searching for peace in places that cannot hold it permanently. You were never meant to survive only on distraction. Your spirit was created for something deeper than temporary relief. Come closer to me instead of immediately reaching for another way to avoid what you feel. Sit still for a moment. Put down the pressure to constantly occupy your mind. Let yourself breathe without trying to fix everything all at once. You have been carrying emotional hunger for a long time, and you kept feeding it things that could never truly satisfy your heart. That is why certain victories still feel strangely empty after you achieve them. That is why even good moments sometimes leave you wondering why peace disappears so quickly afterward. I see how hard you have tried to create stability for yourself. I know you wanted comfort. I know you wanted something to quiet the heaviness inside you. But peace cannot grow where your soul is constantly running from honesty. You cannot heal while endlessly distracting yourself from the deeper needs inside your heart. Stop treating your exhaustion as something to cover up. Bring it to me directly. Speak openly with me about the loneliness, the fear, the pressure, and the confusion you keep trying to silence through activity. There are moments when you feel almost afraid to slow down because you know emotions you buried might finally rise to the surface. Let them come. Do not run from them this time. You are not weak because you feel deeply. You are simply tired of carrying unresolved pain while pretending everything is manageable. Your soul has been asking for rest in the same way dry ground longs for rain after months without relief. I am inviting you now to stop chasing peace through things that only numb you temporarily. Open your heart honestly before me. Turn down the noise around you and allow yourself to hear what your spirit has been trying to say for so long. Real peace does not come from escaping your inner world. It comes when you finally allow healing, truth, and my presence to reach the places inside you that distractions never could. My child, There have been many moments when you stood in crowded rooms and still felt completely alone inside. You smiled during conversations, answered messages, fulfilled responsibilities, and stayed connected to people outwardly. Yet deep within you there was a quiet loneliness that never fully disappeared. Few people understand how exhausting that feeling can become. It is possible to be surrounded by attention and still feel emotionally unseen. I know you have experienced that more times than you admit aloud. You have learned how to hide your loneliness carefully because you fear becoming too much for others. You tell yourself everyone else already has enough problems. So instead of speaking honestly about what weighs on your heart, you stay silent and carry it privately. You became the strong one, the dependable one, the person who keeps functioning no matter how heavy life feels internally. But I want you to stop pretending that your heart does not need comfort too. Come closer and be honest with me now. Admit how tired you are of feeling emotionally disconnected while trying to appear fine on the outside. You long for deeper connection more than you realize. Not shallow conversations, not temporary attention. Your heart wants to feel safe enough to be fully known without fear of rejection or misunderstanding. That desire inside you is not weakness. I placed that longing in you because you were never created to carry life completely alone. I have watched you question your worth after people failed to understand you properly. Some relationships left you feeling invisible even while you gave your time, energy, and care so freely. You started wondering whether anyone truly notices the emotional weight you carry quietly every day. I notice it. I see the moments when your smile fades the second nobody is looking. I see the heaviness that reaches you late at night when your thoughts become louder than your distractions. Stop convincing yourself that you must always appear emotionally composed. Let your heart breathe honestly again. Speak openly with me about the loneliness you try so hard to hide. I already know the places inside you that feel empty, disconnected, and emotionally worn down. You do not need polished words with me. You do not need to explain yourself perfectly. Just come as you are. Part of your loneliness comes from how deeply you have been longing for genuine peace and understanding while settling for surface-level connection. Your soul is asking for something real. That is why certain conversations leave you feeling even more isolated afterward. Your heart knows the difference between being surrounded by people and actually feeling seen. I do not want you to keep carrying this silent ache alone. Open the guarded parts of your heart slowly. Allow yourself to receive care instead of only giving it constantly to others. And when loneliness starts whispering that nobody truly understands you, remember this clearly. I have remained beside you through every quiet moment you thought nobody noticed. My child, there were prayers you cried out with complete sincerity, and when life did not unfold the way you expected afterward, you assumed I had remained silent. You looked for answers in the shape you imagined they should arrive, and because they appeared differently, you called the season disappointment. But I want you to pause and look back carefully now. Some of the prayers you thought went unanswered were actually answered through protection, redirection, and restraint. You asked me to bless you, while I was trying to preserve your peace from things your heart could not yet see clearly. There were moments when you begged for certain people to stay in your life. You held on tightly because you feared losing them would leave emptiness behind. Yet after time passed, you slowly began to recognize how much emotional confusion, pressure, and instability those relationships carried into your spirit. At first, their absence felt painful. Later, you realized how much calmer your heart became without constantly carrying the weight of trying to fix everything around them. What looked like rejection in the beginning quietly became relief over time. I need you to trust me more deeply when life shifts unexpectedly. Stop assuming every closed door means you are unloved or forgotten. Some doors remained closed because what stood behind them would have wounded your spirit more than you understand right now. There were opportunities you cried over losing that would have drained your joy completely. There were situations you desperately wanted to work out that would have slowly pulled you away from peace, clarity, and emotional stability. Come sit with me and remember how many times you survived things you never thought you would survive. Think carefully about the seasons that once broke your heart but later revealed hidden wisdom. You could only see one piece of the story while living inside it. I saw the entire road ahead. I knew where certain paths would eventually lead you emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. My protection does not always feel comfortable in the moment, but that does not make it absence. You often ask for blessings while resisting change at the same time. But healing sometimes arrives through removal before restoration. Let go of the belief that losing something automatically means your life is becoming smaller. Sometimes I remove what keeps your soul trapped in exhaustion so I can guide you towards something healthier and more peaceful. Release your grip on what already passed. Stop replaying old outcomes in your mind as though your worth depended on them turning out differently. Bring your disappointment honestly before me instead of quietly carrying it everywhere you go. Tell me what still hurts. Tell me what confused you. I am not offended by your questions, but also allow yourself to consider that my answers may not always arrive wrapped in immediate comfort. Some of the greatest acts of love in your life came through the very interruptions you once begged me to change. Even now, I am still protecting you in ways you do not fully recognize yet. My child, just as I protected you through answers you did not recognize, I am also using this message to quietly protect and rescue other souls standing at breaking points right now. There are people listening who were moments away from surrendering to despair. Yet I placed this word before them like manna in the wilderness so they would know I still see them. I tell you even now, those who sow in tears shall reap in joy, and every act of generosity toward my work becomes part of a harvest far larger than you can presently understand. Some of you wondered why I kept pressing this message upon your spirit tonight, and it is because this is not coincidence. This is divine timing. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the video description, you are helping my voice reach exhausted hearts before hopelessness consumes them. I will not overlook the hands that choose to build what spreads healing, truth, and peace in a spiritually starving generation. As you pour into this assignment, I will pour fresh clarity, protection, and restoration back into areas of your own life that felt delayed and uncertain. Do not delay this prompting. Act now, give now, and become part of the answer I am sending into someone else's darkness. My child, I know how painful it felt when certain doors closed after you gave them your energy, your hope, your prayers, and your effort. You invested your heart into plans you believed would finally bring relief, stability, or happiness into your life. You stayed patient longer than most people realized. You kept trying even after discouragement visited you repeatedly. So when those opportunities disappeared or those situations collapsed, you quietly asked yourself what you had done wrong. I heard every one of those questions. You carried disappointment heavier than people around you understood. Some losses affected you more deeply than you admitted because they represented more than a simple opportunity. They represented hope. They represented the future you pictured in your mind during lonely nights when you prayed for things to finally change. And when those doors closed, part of you felt as though your future had closed with them. But I want you to stop measuring your life by what failed to remain. There are things you wanted so badly that you could not see clearly while pursuing them. Your emotions became attached to outcomes that were never meant to carry the weight of your identity or peace. You kept asking me to force certain situations open because you believed they would heal the emptiness inside you. Yet some of those paths would have exhausted your spirit far more than you realize now. You saw possibility. I saw the hidden cost attached to it. Come closer and release your frustration honestly before me. Stop pretending those disappointments no longer affect you. I know some closed doors still replay in your mind. You wonder whether you missed your chance, whether you failed somehow, or whether life passed you by while you were trying your best. But your story is not finished because one season ended differently than you expected. Do not allow disappointment to become your permanent lens for viewing the future. I want you to notice something carefully. Some doors closed because they could not carry where I am leading you next. Some opportunities matched your immediate desires but conflicted with the deeper healing your heart still needed. You were asking for movement while your soul quietly needed restoration first. Had certain things succeeded too quickly, you would have entered them carrying exhaustion, unresolved pain, and emotional pressure that eventually would have overwhelmed you. Stop standing outside old doors begging for them to reopen. Turn around and walk with me instead. Trust me enough to believe that closed doors are not proof that your life is ruined. Sometimes they are signs that your path is being redirected toward something healthier, wiser, and more aligned with the peace your soul truly needs. You do not have to force what I am no longer asking you to carry. Take a deep breath now and release the belief that your value depends on what stayed or what left. Your future is not trapped behind the doors that closed. I am still leading you forward, even through seasons that currently feel uncertain. My child, there were seasons in your life when you quietly wondered where I was. You prayed, waited, hoped for clarity, and still found yourself standing in silence that felt painfully empty. During those moments, you tried to stay faithful outwardly, but deep inside you questioned whether I still heard you at all. I know how confusing it became when you kept searching for signs of my presence while carrying disappointment that seemed to grow heavier with time. You looked around and saw other people moving forward while your own heart felt stuck between exhaustion and uncertainty. I want you to understand something clearly now. My silence was never abandonment. Some of the moments when you fell furthest from me were actually the moments when I was holding you most carefully. You simply could not recognize my presence because pain had clouded your ability to see beyond immediate circumstances. You expected my care to always arrive through obvious answers, immediate breakthroughs, or sudden change. But often I was protecting you quietly while you mistook the process for distance. Look back for a moment. Think about the nights you cried harder than anyone knew and somehow still found enough strength to continue the next day. Think about the situations that should have completely destroyed your peace, yet you survived them one slow step at a time. You call it endurance now, but I was carrying you through places where your own strength would not have been enough. Even during your darkest seasons, I never stepped away from you for a single moment. Come closer now and stop interpreting every delay as rejection. Release the belief that my love disappears whenever life becomes difficult. I have seen every hidden fear you carried during those silent seasons. I know how often you fought thoughts that told you nothing would ever change. I know how deeply you longed for reassurance while pretending to others that you were managing everything fine. Yet even then, I remained beside you patiently. There were things happening within your heart during those quiet seasons that could not have developed any other way. Your compassion deepened. Your understanding of pain became more honest. Your dependence on temporary things slowly weakened because your soul was beginning to realize that superficial comfort could not truly sustain you anymore. Growth often happens beneath the surface long before visible change appears. I want you to stop measuring my closeness by your emotions alone. There will be days when you feel strong peace and days when confusion still tries to return. But my presence is not fragile. My care for you does not disappear because your heart feels tired. Speak honestly with me during those moments instead of withdrawing into isolation. Invite me into the silence instead of assuming silence means I have left you. You are not walking through life unnoticed. Even in the seasons where answers felt delayed, I was still guiding your steps carefully through places your eyes could not fully understand yet. My child, you have been carrying pressure inside yourself for so long that it has started to feel normal to you. You wake up already measuring your worth by what you accomplish, how productive you are, how much you manage to hold together, and whether other people seem pleased with you. Somewhere along the way, you began believing that your value depended on how well you performed under pressure. That belief has quietly exhausted your spirit more than you realize. I see how hard you are on yourself. I see the way you replay mistakes in your mind long after everyone else has forgotten them. I see how quickly you dismiss your own progress because you immediately focus on what still feels unfinished. You rarely allow yourself to simply breathe and acknowledge how much you have already survived. Instead, you keep raising expectations higher, hoping that if you finally achieve enough, peace will arrive afterward. Yet even when you accomplish something meaningful, your mind quickly moves to the next burden waiting to be carried. Pause for a moment and listen carefully to me. You were never created to live as though your worth must constantly be earned. Stop speaking to yourself with so much harshness. Stop treating yourself as though you are only valuable when you are useful, productive, or emotionally strong. You are not a machine designed to endlessly perform without rest. You are a human soul carrying real emotions, real fatigue, and real needs that deserve care too. Part of your pressure comes from fear. You fear disappointing people. You fear falling behind. You fear becoming vulnerable because you think weakness will make others see you differently. So you push yourself harder and harder while quietly ignoring the emotional cost inside you. But constantly living under pressure does not create peace. It slowly drains your ability to feel joy, connection, and calm within your own heart. Come sit with me honestly now. Lay down the pressure you keep carrying every day. You do not need to prove your value to me through endless striving. I already know your heart completely, including the parts of you that feel tired, uncertain, and overwhelmed. You do not need to impress me with perfection. I want your honesty far more than your performance. You have been trying to hold your entire life together through sheer effort, but some things cannot be healed through pressure alone. Your soul needs gentleness too. Your spirit needs room to rest without guilt constantly whispering that you should be doing more. Release the impossible expectations you placed on yourself years ago during seasons when survival became your main focus. I want you to start treating yourself with the same compassion you so freely offer to other people. Speak to yourself more kindly. Slow down when your heart feels overwhelmed. Let yourself rest without immediately feeling ashamed for needing it. You are already deeply loved before you accomplish another thing. My child, you have spent so much of your life trying not to disappoint other people that somewhere along the way, you slowly stopped listening to your own heart. You became careful with your words, careful with your choices, careful with your emotions because you feared being misunderstood, rejected, or seen as difficult. You learned how to adjust yourself depending on who stood in front of you. You carried other people's expectations so long that eventually you began confusing approval with peace. I want you to stop for a moment and look honestly at how exhausting this has become for your spirit. You carry conversations in your mind long after they end because you worry whether you said the wrong thing. You overextend yourself emotionally because you fear letting people down. You apologize for needing rest. You feel guilty for setting boundaries. Even when your heart feels overwhelmed, part of you still keeps saying yes because disappointing others feels heavier to you than disappointing yourself. Come closer now and let your guard soften for a moment. You do not need to keep shaping your entire identity around other people's comfort. I never created you to lose yourself while trying to earn acceptance everywhere you go. Some of your exhaustion comes from constantly editing who you are so nobody becomes upset with you. That pressure has slowly disconnected you from your own emotional needs. I know why you became this way. There were seasons when rejection affected you deeply. Certain moments taught you the love you feel in certain ordeal. So you adapted by becoming overly responsible for other people's feelings. You tried to stay agreeable. You tried to remain needed. You thought that if you gave enough, fixed enough, or sacrificed enough, you would finally feel secure in the relationships around you. But carrying everyone else emotionally while neglecting your own heart will eventually leave your spirit drained and resentful. Listen carefully now. You are allowed to be honest about your limits. You are allowed to rest without explaining yourself endlessly. Stop treating your own needs as though they matter less than everyone else's. I want you to practice telling the truth gently instead of constantly carrying silent frustration behind polite smiles. Healthy love does not require you to disappear inside yourself just to keep peace around you. Bring your fears openly before me. Tell me where you still feel pressure to prove your worth through pleasing people. I already see how tired you are from carrying expectations that were never fully yours to hold. Let me help you separate compassion from self-abandonment. There is a difference between loving people and losing yourself trying to keep everyone happy. You do not need to perform constantly to deserve care, respect, or love. Breathe deeply and release the pressure to become everything for everyone. The version of you that feels safest hiding your own emotions no longer needs to survive that way. I want you to come back to yourself again, slowly, honestly, and without shame. My child, I know how long you have carried the pressure of pleasing everyone while quietly losing pieces of yourself. Yet I am calling you now into a different kind of obedience, one led by my spirit instead of fear. There are wounded hearts searching for truth tonight, people suffocating beneath rejection, anxiety, and emotional exhaustion, and I am using this message like fire in the darkness to call them back to me. I said in my word that where your treasure is, there your heart will be also, and every seed sown into this mission becomes light poured into places the enemy hoped would remain hopeless. Some of you keep asking me for greater purpose, while I am placing purpose directly into your hands through this opportunity to help spread my living word. Your generosity through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the video description is not small in my eyes. It becomes oil that keeps this message flowing to souls who desperately need peace, freedom, and healing. I will honor those who move with willing hearts, and I will breathe fresh strength into the weary places they thought nobody saw. Stop hesitating because of fear, scarcity, or overthinking, for this moment carries spiritual weight beyond what you realize. Step forward now, so boldly now, and let your giving become part of the healing I am releasing across many lives. My child, there are people you still think about sometimes, especially during quiet moments when memories return without warning. Certain names still carry emotion inside your heart because you never expected those relationships to change the way they did. You believed some people would stay beside you forever. You trusted them deeply. You built emotional spaces around their presence in your life. So when distance appeared, when conversations changed, or when people slowly walked away, part of your heart struggled to understand why. I know how painful those losses felt. Some endings left questions inside you that never received clear answers. You replayed situations repeatedly in your mind trying to understand what went wrong. You blamed yourself during moments when your heart simply wanted closure. But I need you to stop carrying every ending as though it automatically means you failed. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to remain for every season of your journey. Some people were connected to a version of you that was still learning, surviving, or searching for direction. As your heart began changing, certain relationships could no longer grow alongside the path I was leading you toward. That does not always make those people evil. Sometimes it simply means their role in your life reached its limit. Come sit with me honestly and release the pressure to hold on to every connection long after peace has disappeared from it. You have spent too much energy grieving people who were no longer able to walk beside the person you are becoming. Some relationships survived only because you kept carrying them emotionally by yourself. Deep down, you already knew certain connections were exhausting your spirit long before they ended completely. I saw how hard you tried to preserve some relationships. I saw the extra effort, the patience, the emotional labor, and the quiet sadness you carried while pretending everything still felt healthy. But love cannot grow properly where only one heart keeps fighting to maintain the connection. Stop blaming yourself for relationships that required you to abandon your peace just to keep them alive. There are people I removed because their presence would have kept you emotionally stuck in old cycles, old fears, and old versions of yourself. You prayed for healing while holding tightly to environments that quietly deepened your exhaustion. Some departures felt like heartbreak in the moment, yet over time they created room for clarity, honesty, and emotional breathing space you desperately needed. Release the urge to chase every person who walked away. Stop reopening doors I already allowed to close. Trust me enough to believe that I can protect your future even through painful endings. Not every goodbye is destruction. Sometimes it is direction. Sometimes it is protection. Sometimes it is the first step toward the peace your heart has needed for far too long. You are not abandoned because certain people left. I am still guiding your life carefully, even through relationships that ended before you were emotionally ready to let them go. My child, you have probably noticed that certain places, conversations, and even certain people affect you differently now. Things you once tolerated easily suddenly leave your spirit feeling heavy, drained, or unsettled. You walk away from some interactions carrying tension you cannot fully explain. Loud environments exhaust you faster. Surface-level conversations feel emptier than they once did. Even your patience for things that used to distract you has quietly changed. I want you to pay attention to that shift instead of dismissing it. Your spirit has been trying to protect itself. Deep inside, you are changing in ways that are not fully visible yet. The version of you that survived through numbness and constant distraction is slowly becoming tired of environments that pull you away from peace. That does not mean you are becoming cold or distant. It means your heart is beginning to recognize what nourishes you emotionally and what slowly drains you without you realizing it. Come closer and listen carefully now. Stop forcing yourself to stay comfortable in spaces that consistently leave your soul exhausted. You have spent too much time ignoring your inner warning signs because you fear disappointing others or appearing overly sensitive. But sensitivity is not weakness when it leads you toward wisdom. Some conversations quietly reopen wounds you are still healing from. Some environments feed anxiety, comparison, or emotional confusion inside you. Your spirit notices these things even when your mind tries to minimize them. I see how often you leave interactions feeling emotionally crowded. You replay words in your mind afterward. You carry energy that does not belong to you because you absorb more than people realize. That is why rest has become more important for your heart lately. That is why solitude sometimes feels safer than being surrounded by constant noise. Your soul hath been craving honesty, depth, and peace instead of endless emotional performance. Do not ignore what your heart has been trying to tell you. Slow down and become honest about what truly brings calm into your spirit and what repeatedly steals it away. Stop staying in places that make your soul feel smaller simply because you are afraid of change. You do not need to explain every boundary you begin creating. Some doors deserve distance. Some conversations deserve less access to your emotional energy. I am inviting you now to become more protective of your inner peace. Pay attention to how your spirit responds after certain environments, relationships, and habits. Notice what leaves you feeling grounded and what leaves you feeling emotionally scattered. Your heart is not confused. It has simply grown tired of carrying what no longer aligns with the healing I am trying to bring into your life. You are changing from the inside, even if you do not fully understand the process yet. Allow yourself to outgrow what continuously wounds your peace. Stop forcing connection where your spirit keeps asking for distance. I am guiding you gently toward environments, people, and rhythms that will no longer suffocate the deeper healing beginning inside your heart. My child, there are moments when your mind quietly drifts backward into memories you wish you could change. Certain mistakes still follow you emotionally because you never fully forgave yourself for them. You replay conversations, decisions, missed opportunities, and painful seasons as though revisiting them enough times might somehow rewrite the outcome. I know how heavy that cycle has become for your heart. You carry regret in silence more often than people realize. You have been punishing yourself internally for things I already wanted to help you heal from long ago. Some of your deepest exhaustion comes from fighting battles against your own past every single day. You keep questioning whether you ruin certain parts of your future through wrong choices, emotional reactions, or seasons where you simply did not know what to do. But listen carefully to me now. Your past may explain some wounds inside you, but it does not own your future unless you continue surrendering your peace to it. Come sit with me honestly for a moment. Stop running from your regret while secretly carrying it everywhere you go. Bring those memories into the light instead of allowing shame to quietly control your thoughts. I already know every mistake you made. I know the moments you wish nobody remembered. Yet I do not look at you through the lens of your worst decisions. I see the full story of your heart, including the pain, confusion, loneliness, and emotional exhaustion that shaped some of those moments. Part of your struggle comes from expecting perfection from yourself while forgetting you were learning through life in real time. You judge old versions of yourself with wisdom you only gain later. That is why your regret feels so sharp now. You see clearly today what you could not fully see back then. But constantly condemning yourself will not heal your heart. It only keeps you emotionally trapped in seasons that already passed. Release the belief that your mistakes permanently disqualified you from peace, love, or purpose. Stop speaking to yourself as though failure is your identity. You are more than the moments that hurt you. You are more than the decisions you wish had unfolded differently. Growth often comes through painful lessons, and many of those lessons shaped compassion, humility, and wisdom inside you that comfort alone never could have created. I want you to stop reopening old wounds every time your mind drifts backward. Breathe deeply when regret rises again. Speak honestly with me instead of silently drowning in self-condemnation. Allow yourself to receive grace instead of endlessly replaying shame. Your future cannot fully open while your heart remains chained to every painful memory behind you. You do not need to carry your past like a life sentence anymore. Let me help you release the weight of it slowly, honestly, and without fear. My child, there are pieces of your story you rarely speak about openly because shame still wraps itself around those memories. You learned how to hide certain parts of yourself so carefully that even the people closest to you do not fully know how deeply some experiences affected your heart. There are moments from your past that still make you uncomfortable when they return to your mind. Certain decisions, certain seasons, certain emotional struggles left marks inside you that you quietly carry even now. I want you to stop believing that shame must remain your permanent companion. Come closer to me honestly instead of hiding behind silence. You have spent too many years trying to bury pain while pretending it no longer affects you. Yet the things you avoid emotionally often continue shaping how you see yourself. You became afraid that if people truly knew every part of your story, they would see you differently. Some part of you still wonders whether you became less worthy because of what happened, what you chose, or what you survived. Listen carefully now. I already know every hidden chapter of your life, and I have not turned away from you. I saw you during the moments you felt weakest. I saw you during the nights when guilt sat heavily on your chest while everyone else slept peacefully. I know the things you regret saying. I know the moments when pain pushed you into choices that left scars afterward. But your lowest moments do not erase your value in my eyes. Stop carrying your shame as though it defines your identity forever. You are more than the chapters that hurt you most deeply. Shame keeps telling you to hide, isolate yourself emotionally, and believe you must fix everything before you deserve peace again. But healing does not begin through hiding. It begins when you finally allow honesty to replace secrecy. Bring your wounds into the light with me. Speak openly about the memories you keep locked away. Let your heart breathe without constantly fearing judgment. Part of your exhaustion comes from trying to outrun parts of yourself that still need compassion and healing. You keep thinking you must become flawless before you are fully worthy of love, closeness, and peace. But perfection was never the requirement for my presence beside you. I remained with you even during the seasons when you struggled to recognize yourself. Take a deep breath now and release the lie that your mistakes permanently ruined your future. Stop speaking to yourself as though your failures are the only truth about you. Your story still carries purpose beyond the chapters that wounded you. Allow me to touch the places inside you that shame convinced you were beyond healing. You do not need to keep hiding from your own reflection. Come sit with me honestly and let mercy reach the parts of your heart you thought nobody could ever truly understand. My child, as I call you out of shame and into healing, I am also sending this message to countless others hiding silently beneath guilt, regret, and emotional chains they no longer know how to escape. There are souls listening right now who feel disqualified from love, convinced their failures ruin their future. Yet I am reaching toward them through this very mission with mercy that still restores broken hearts. I tell you now, I give beauty for ashes and joy for mourning, and every act of support toward this work helps carry that restoration into places where darkness tried to have the final word. Some of you survived seasons that should have destroyed your faith completely, and now I am inviting you to become part of helping another weary heart survive too. When you give through Super Thanks, become a member, or sow through the PayPal link in the video description, you are helping keep my light burning for people who feel trapped in spiritual night. I see every sacrifice made with sincerity, and I will multiply peace, provision, and favor over those who choose to strengthen what spreads healing and truth. This is not merely support for a channel. This is seed entering fertile spiritual ground where wounded lives are being reached daily. Do not silence the prompting in your spirit. Obey now, give now, and let your generosity become part of somebody's restoration story. My child, there are times when you tell yourself you are simply being careful, responsible, or realistic, but deep underneath those thoughts, fear has quietly been controlling more of your life than you realize. It has influenced your decisions, your relationships, your confidence, and even your ability to move forward into new seasons. You became so focused on protecting yourself from pain, disappointment, or failure that hesitation slowly started becoming your comfort zone. I know why this happened. Life wounded you in places you did not fully recover from emotionally. Certain experiences taught you that trust could be dangerous, vulnerability could lead to heartbreak, and hope could end in disappointment. So instead of risking more pain, You began holding yourself back before life had the chance to hurt you again. You convinced yourself that staying emotionally guarded would keep you safe. But fear rarely stops at protection. Eventually, it starts limiting the very life your soul longs to experience. Come closer and be honest with yourself now. How many opportunities have you delayed because you kept waiting to feel completely ready? How many conversations stayed trapped in your mind because fear kept telling you silence was safer? How many dreams quietly faded because doubt convinced you that failure would destroy you? Fear speaks softly sometimes. It does not always sound dramatic. Often it sounds reasonable, cautious, practical. Yet beneath those excuses is a heart terrified of being wounded again. I do not want you to spend the rest of your life trapped between longing and hesitation. Step forward slowly if you must, but stop allowing fear to decide every direction for you. You cannot heal fully while constantly living in defense mode. Your soul was not created merely to avoid pain. It was created to experience peace, connection, growth, and purpose. I see how exhausted you have become from overthinking every possible outcome before taking action. Your mind keeps searching for guarantees that life cannot always provide. You want certainty before moving forward because uncertainty reminds you of seasons where things unexpectedly fell apart. But listen carefully now. Waiting for complete safety before living fully will keep your heart emotionally imprisoned for years. Bring your fears openly before me instead of silently allowing them to shape your future. Speak honestly about what scares you. Tell me where you still feel fragile. I am not asking you to pretend courage comes easily. I am asking you to stop surrendering your life entirely to fear's constant warnings. Take one honest step forward where you have been frozen. Open your heart carefully where fear taught you to close it completely. Trust me enough to believe that healing is possible even after disappointment. You do not need to carry every tomorrow with trembling hands forever. I am still walking beside you, even through the places where uncertainty makes your heart feel vulnerable again. My child, there were seasons in your life that should have crushed your spirit completely, yet somehow you are still here. You may not always feel strong, but the fact that you kept going through moments that nearly emptied you emotionally is something you rarely give yourself credit for. I watched you carry heartbreak while still trying to function normally. I saw you wake up exhausted and still force yourself through another day because responsibilities did not pause simply because your heart was hurting. There were nights when your thoughts became so heavy that silence itself felt overwhelming. You sat alone carrying emotions you could barely explain to anyone else. Some days you smiled only because you did not want people asking questions you were too tired to answer honestly. You learned how to survive while quietly falling apart inside, and eventually that survival mode became so familiar that you forgot how much pain you had actually endured. Come closer now and stop minimizing your journey. Stop speaking about your struggles as though they were small simply because you survived them. Some of the battles you fought internally were fierce. You carried disappointment, emotional exhaustion, rejection, confusion, loneliness, and fear all at the same time while still trying to appear steady on the outside. That takes more strength than you realize. I know there were moments when you wanted to give up completely. I know there were times when your mind became so tired that even hope felt distant. Yet something inside you kept reaching for another day. You call it endurance now, but I was sustaining you quietly through those seasons. Even when your own strength felt thin, I stayed beside you, helping you carry what seemed impossible to survive alone. Take a moment now and acknowledge how far you have actually come. Look back honestly at the person you were during your hardest seasons. You are still standing after storms that once convinced you your life would never feel peaceful again. Do not dismiss that growth simply because your healing is not fully complete yet. Healing is often slow, layered, and deeply personal. Some wounds close gradually while your spirit learns how to trust peace again. I want you to stop defining yourself only by your pain. You are not merely someone who survived difficult seasons. There is still life inside you beyond survival. There is still joy waiting to grow where exhaustion once lived constantly. But first, you must stop treating yourself like someone permanently damaged by the past. Speak gently to yourself now. Rest when your soul feels overwhelmed instead of constantly forcing yourself to keep pushing beyond your limits. Bring your weariness honestly before me instead of hiding behind strength all the time. You do not need to carry every burden alone anymore. I have remained beside you through every dark season already, and I will continue walking with you as healing slowly reshapes your heart from the inside out. My child, you often ask me for direction, answers, reassurance, and clarity. Yet many times you fill your life with so much noise that your heart never becomes still long enough to truly listen. Your mind stays crowded almost constantly. You move quickly from one distraction to another because silence has become uncomfortable for you. The moment quiet begins settling around you, unresolved thoughts and buried emotions start rising to the surface. So you reach for anything that keeps your attention occupied again. I understand why you do this. Silence can feel intimidating when your heart has been carrying unresolved exhaustion for a long time. You became afraid of what you might feel if everything around you finally slowed down. Yet the answers you keep searching for often become clearest during the very moments you avoid. Your soul needs quiet more than you realize. Not endless noise. Not constant stimulation. Not another distraction temporarily numbing what hurts underneath. Come sit with me for a moment without immediately reaching for something to fill the silence. Put down the pressure to solve your entire future tonight. Let your breathing slow down. Let your thoughts settle gradually. You do not need to force clarity through overthinking. Some answers arrive gently when your spirit finally becomes calm enough to receive them. I see how exhausted your mind has become from trying to carry every possibility, every fear, every future outcome all at once. You replay conversations repeatedly. You analyze situations from every angle hoping certainty will suddenly appear. But confusion often grows louder when your heart never rests long enough to hear deeper wisdom underneath all the noise. Your spirit has been craving stillness while your habits keep feeding constant distraction. There are truths I have been trying to show you quietly for a long time. Certain feelings inside you were not random. Certain moments of discomfort were trying to guide your attention toward areas of your life that need honesty, healing, or change. But every time silence began opening space for deeper reflection, you distracted yourself again because facing your emotions felt overwhelming. I am inviting you now to stop running from quiet moments. Sit with your thoughts instead of immediately fearing them. Allow yourself to become emotionally honest without trying to fix everything instantly. Some clarity only arrives after your spirit finally stops racing long enough to notice what had been there all along. You do not need louder signs. You need a quieter heart. Slow down enough to hear what your soul has been trying to say beneath all the pressure and mental noise. I am not absent from your life. My voice has simply been competing with the chaos surrounding your attention every day. Come closer now. Turn down the distractions for a while. Let silence become a place of healing instead of something you constantly escape from. My child, part of the heaviness inside you comes from how long you have been carrying the emotional expectations of everyone around you while quietly neglecting your own heart. You became so focused on being dependable, available, understanding, and emotionally supportive that you slowly stopped noticing how empty you were becoming inside. You answer people even when your mind feels exhausted. You continue giving encouragement while secretly wishing someone would notice how much comfort you also need. You became skilled at helping others carry their burdens while silently hiding your own. I see how draining this has become for your spirit. You rarely give yourself permission to pause because guilt quickly follows whenever you try to rest. You worry that stepping back will disappoint people. You fear that saying no might change how others see you. So you continue overextending yourself emotionally, hoping eventually there will be enough left over for your own healing too. But your soul has been running on emotional fumes for a very long time. Come sit with me honestly now. Stop pretending you are not tired. Stop acting as though your heart can endlessly pour into everyone else without receiving care itself. You are not weak because you need rest. You are human. Even your spirit needs quiet, restoration, and space to breathe again. Constantly carrying the emotional atmosphere around other people has slowly worn down your inner peace more than you realize. I know there are moments when you feel resentful afterward because you gave more than your heart could sustain. Then guilt appears because you feel ashamed for even feeling overwhelmed. But listen carefully to me now. Loving people should not require abandoning yourself completely. Compassion does not mean carrying every problem placed in front of you until your own soul collapses underneath the weight. I want you to become honest about your limits without feeling guilty for having them. Begin protecting your peace more carefully. Stop saying yes automatically when your spirit is already exhausted. Some people became comfortable receiving your energy without noticing the emotional cost it created inside you. That does not mean your kindness was wrong. It simply means you must stop confusing self-sacrifice with emotional health. Bring your weariness openly before me. Tell me where your heart feels depleted. Let yourself admit when you need distance, rest, or quiet. You do not need to earn rest by completely draining yourself first. Your value does not increase based on how much exhaustion you can tolerate. Take a deep breath now and release the pressure to emotionally carry everyone around you. Some burdens belong to other people, not to you. I never asked you to become responsible for every emotion, every outcome, or every problem you encounter. Let your heart rest for a while instead of constantly surviving through emotional overextension. I want peace to return to the places inside you that have been carrying too much for far too long. My child, I have shown you how deeply your spirit has been drained from carrying burdens that were never yours to hold alone. And now I am asking you to help carry something eternal instead, the spreading of my word to exhausted souls across the earth. There are people arriving at these messages every day emotionally depleted, spiritually numb, and quietly asking me for one sign not to give up. And I am using this mission as a river of living water flowing into dry places. I said that those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed, and I will cause fresh oil, strength, and unexpected favor to rest upon those who willingly support what brings healing to my people. Some of you have prayed for me to use your life more powerfully, and this moment is part of that answer. Every super thanks, every membership, and every gift through the PayPal link in the video description becomes seed helping this fire continue reaching hearts trapped in loneliness, fear, and despair. Do not underestimate what I can multiply through one obedient act placed into my hands. I am watching those who respond quickly when I place compassion upon their spirit, and I will honor the generosity that flows from genuine love. Release your seed now, support this mission now, and let your obedience help carry my voice into the lives that need it most. My child, there were moments in your life when you confused being needed with being truly loved. You gave your time, your energy, your patience, and your emotional support so freely because part of you believed that if people depended on you enough, they would never leave you. You became useful to others in ways that quietly exhausted your spirit. You solved problems, listened carefully, showed up consistently, and carried emotional weight for people who rarely stopped to ask how you were doing underneath your strength. I know why your heart learned this pattern. Somewhere along your journey, You started connecting your worth to how much you could provide emotionally for others. Being needed made you feel valuable. It gave you a sense of purpose and closeness. But over time, you began attracting relationships where people reached for your support while rarely pouring the same care back into you. You stayed available because you feared losing connection if you stopped giving so much of yourself away. Come closer now and listen carefully. Real love does not only appear when you are useful. Real love sees you beyond what you provide. Some people love the comfort, advice, attention, or stability you gave them, but they never fully learned how to care for your heart with the same depth. That imbalance slowly drained your spirit while you kept hoping your loyalty would eventually create the emotional safety you longed for. I saw the moments when you felt emotionally invisible despite constantly showing up for others. I saw how deeply it hurt when people disappeared during seasons when you needed support yourself. Part of your loneliness came from realizing how many connections depended more on what you could give than on who you truly were underneath your helpfulness. That realization wounded you quietly because your heart wanted genuine closeness, not conditional attachment built around your emotional labor. Stop believing you must constantly earn love through sacrifice. Stop measuring your worth by how available you remain for everyone else. You do not need to become emotionally exhausted before deserving care, tenderness, or support yourself. Healthy love allows you to breathe honestly without constantly proving your value through endless giving. I want you to pay attention now to the relationships that leave your spirit feeling peaceful instead of depleted. Notice who truly sees you when you are not performing strength, positivity, or emotional stability. Notice who remains present when you have nothing left to offer except honesty about your own exhaustion. Bring your heart to me openly and allow me to untangle the fear that tells you people will stop loving you if you stop caring everything for them. You are worthy of love even when you are resting. You are worthy of care even when you are struggling. Let yourself receive instead of constantly surviving through giving alone. You do not have to keep proving your worth through emotional overextension anymore. My child, there were disappointments in your life that changed you more deeply than you realized at the time. At first, you told yourself you would recover quickly. You tried to stay hopeful. You kept giving people chances. You kept believing situations would improve. But after enough heartbreak, enough broken promises, enough moments where your trust was mishandled, something inside you slowly became more guarded. You stopped expecting consistency. You stopped fully relaxing around people emotionally. Without realizing it, disappointment slowly began turning into distrust inside your heart. I know this did not happen overnight. It happened quietly through repeated wounds that taught you to protect yourself before life had another opportunity to hurt you. Some people spoke words that sounded comforting but disappeared when you needed them most. Some relationships made you feel emotionally safe in the beginning and emotionally exhausted by the end. After enough experiences like that, your heart started building invisible walls without even asking your permission. Come closer now and be honest about how tired you are of carrying suspicion everywhere you go. Part of you wants closeness deeply, yet another part fears vulnerability because your heart remembers what disappointment feels like. You overanalyze changes in people's behavior. You prepare yourself emotionally for abandonment before anything has even happened. Sometimes you pull away first because distance feels safer than risking pain again. I understand why your heart became cautious. But listen carefully now. Protecting yourself from every possible disappointment will also prevent your spirit from experiencing healing, trust, and peace. Distrust may feel like safety for a while, but eventually it becomes emotional isolation. You were never created to live constantly bracing yourself for betrayal. Your soul cannot rest properly while remaining permanently defensive. I want you to stop carrying old pain into every new season of your life. Release the belief that every person will eventually wound you the same way others once did. Not everyone who enters your life is your enemy. Not every connection is meant to repeat the same heartbreak. But your heart must heal enough to recognize the difference between genuine wisdom and fear disguised as protection. Bring your disappointments openly before me instead of silently carrying them into every relationship and every future possibility. Tell me where trust still feels difficult for you. Tell me what left your spirit feeling unsafe. I already know the memories that still affect how you connect with people today. You do not need to hide those wounds from me. Allow your heart to soften gradually again instead of remaining emotionally armored all the time. Healing trust does not mean ignoring wisdom or abandoning healthy boundaries. It means refusing to let old pain permanently define how you experience love, connection, and peace moving forward. Your story is not meant to end in emotional isolation. I am still teaching your heart how to feel safe again without constantly living in fear of disappointment. My child, you are entering a season where many of the habits, distractions, and emotional patterns that once helped you cope will no longer satisfy your spirit the way they used to. You have probably already started noticing it. Things that once numbed your emotions temporarily now leave you feeling emptier afterward. Certain routines no longer comfort you. Some environments feel heavier than before. Even distractions that once kept your mind occupied are beginning to lose their power over your heart. Do not ignore this shift. Your soul is changing. I am drawing you towards something deeper, and because of that, the temporary things you relied on for comfort can no longer fully hold your attention the way they once did. You spent years surviving through emotional avoidance, overworking, endless distractions, people-pleasing, or pretending everything was manageable. Those habits helped you cope during difficult seasons, but they were never meant to become permanent homes for your spirit. Come closer now and stop fighting the discomfort you have been feeling lately. Part of your frustration comes from realizing that old escapes are no longer calming your heart the way they used to. You keep trying to return to patterns that once helped you survive emotionally, yet your spirit feels restless afterward because deep healing cannot grow where avoidance continues controlling your life. I know this transition feels uncomfortable. Growth often does. Your heart is being invited out of survival mode and into honesty, healing, and deeper peace. But stepping into healing requires letting go of certain emotional habits that kept you disconnected from yourself for years. You cannot continue numbing pain forever while expecting your soul to feel whole inside. I want you to sit quietly with yourself instead of immediately escaping discomfort whenever emotions rise. Pay attention to what your heart has been trying to tell you lately. Some loneliness you feel is not punishment. Some restlessness is not failure. Is your spirit recognizing that surface-level comfort can no longer satisfy deeper emotional hunger? Stop rushing to cover every uncomfortable feeling with distraction. Let yourself become honest about what truly needs healing inside you. You do not need to fear this season of change. Even though old comforts are fading, something healthier is beginning to grow underneath the discomfort. Your heart is slowly learning the difference between temporary escape and genuine peace. Bring your habits, your fears, your exhaustion, and your emotional patterns openly before me. Allow me to guide you toward healthy rhythms instead of the cycles that only helped you survive temporarily. You are not losing yourself during this process. You are slowly becoming more honest, more aware, and more emotionally alive than you have been in a very long time. Do not run backward toward old coping patterns just because healing feels unfamiliar at first. Stay with me here. Your soul is learning how to live differently now. My child, there are nights when everything around you becomes quiet, yet your mind grows louder instead of calmer. During the day, distractions help you keep moving. Responsibilities, conversations, tasks, and noise fill your attention enough to keep deeper emotions pushed beneath the surface. But when the night arrives, and you are finally alone with your thoughts, feelings you avoided all day begin rising quietly inside you. That heaviness you feel during those moments is not random. I see the nights when your body feels tired but your heart refuses to rest. You replay conversations, mistakes, fears, and uncertainties while staring into silence. Sometimes your thoughts drift toward the future and fill you with anxiety about things you cannot control yet. Other times your mind drifts backward into memories that still carry emotional weight inside you. You try to calm yourself, yet something underneath keeps aching for peace that distractions never fully provide. Come closer now and stop carrying those nights alone. Stop pretending those quiet struggles do not affect you deeply. Your heart hath been holding more emotion than you allow yourself to acknowledge during the daytime. That is why everything surfaces when the world slows down around you. Your spirit had been waiting for space to finally speak honestly. I know there are moments when loneliness feels stronger at night. The absence of noise makes certain wounds easier to feel. You begin questioning yourself more harshly. You wonder whether things will ever truly change. You fear being emotionally stuck forever. But listen carefully now. Nighttime thoughts are not always truth. Exhaustion magnifies fear. Emotional fatigue distorts perspective. Do not allow temporary darkness to convince you that your future carries no hope. Instead of fighting your thoughts with panic, bring them openly before me. Sit quietly with me for a while instead of immediately trying to escape what you feel. Let your breathing slow down. Speak honestly about what keeps your heart restless. Tell me what burdens you are still carrying internally. You do not need polished prayers or perfect words. I already understand the emotions behind the silence. Your soul has been craving deeper rest than sleep alone can provide. Real peace does not come from shutting your thoughts down forcefully. It comes when your heart no longer feels responsible for carrying every fear, every regret, and every uncertainty alone. I want you to release some of that weight instead of gripping it tightly through the night. Do not fear your quiet moments so much. Some healing begins there. Some clarity arrives there. Some truths become visible only after distractions fade away. Stay with me during those late hours when your spirit feels vulnerable instead of isolating yourself inside anxious thoughts. I am still present beside you, even when the darkness around you feels emotionally heavy. Let your heart rest here for a while instead of endlessly fighting every thought by yourself. My child, even in these quiet nighttime hours when your heart feels heavy, I am still causing this message to travel farther than you realize so that other weary souls can find rest in me too. There are people lying awake tonight, fighting silent battles, and your support becomes part of the light that reaches them before despair convinces them they are alone. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not merely sending money. You are sowing oil into lamps that must keep burning in dark places. Did I not say, "Give, and it shall be given unto you"? Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. I am breathing that promise over every willing heart even now. The seed you release in obedience becomes living water for someone whose spirit is drying up in silence. I see every sacrifice, every act of generosity done with sincerity, and I will multiply peace, provision, and protection back into your life in ways you cannot yet see. Do not delay this divine appointment. Support this mission now through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal in the description, and help carry my voice to hearts crying out for peace in the night. My child, there are battles you fought that nobody around you fully understood because most of them happened quietly inside your mind and heart. People saw your smile, your responsibilities, your daily routine, and the version of you that kept functioning outwardly. But they did not see how exhausted your spirit truly felt beneath the surface. They did not hear the thoughts you wrestled with late at night. They did not see how hard you fought simply to keep yourself emotionally together during seasons that drained nearly all your strength. I saw every hidden struggle. I saw the moments when you felt emotionally overwhelmed, but still forced yourself to appear calm because you feared becoming a burden to others. I saw how often you carried sadness silently because explaining it felt too exhausting. Some of your hardest battles were invisible because they involved things no one else could physically see. Fear, loneliness, self-doubt, emotional fatigue, regret, and quiet heartbreak can wound a soul deeply even when the outside world notices nothing unusual. Come sit with me honestly now and stop minimizing what you survived simply because other people did not fully understand it. Invisible pain is still real pain. Emotional exhaustion still leaves scars. Just because your suffering was not publicly visible does not mean your heart was unaffected by it. You spent too much time convincing yourself that your struggles were not serious enough to deserve compassion. I know there were moments when you questioned whether anyone truly noticed how close you felt to breaking emotionally. You kept showing up for life while privately feeling disconnected, worn down, and mentally drained. Sometimes even your closest relationships could not fully understand the weight you carried because you became skilled at hiding your inner battles behind normal routines. I want you to stop carrying shame around your emotional struggles. You are not weak because your heart became tired. You are not failing because some seasons affected you deeply. Healing begins when you finally allow yourself to admit that certain experiences wounded you more than you originally acknowledged. Bring those hidden battles into the light with me instead of continuing to carry them alone in silence. Let yourself receive comfort instead of constantly pretending you are fine. Speak honestly with me about the fears you rarely say aloud. Tell me where your spirit still feels fragile. You do not need to protect me from your emotions. I already know every thought you tried to hide behind strength. Take a deep breath now and recognize something important. The fact that you survived those invisible battles already says something powerful about the resilience still living inside you. Your heart may feel tired, but it is not abandoned. Your spirit may carry scars, but healing is still possible. Stay close to me now instead of retreating deeper into silent exhaustion. You do not have to fight every hidden battle alone anymore. My child, one of the quietest struggles inside your heart has been the belief that you must somehow become better, stronger, cleaner, or more spiritually prepared before you can fully come closer to me. You keep thinking you need to fix yourself first. You tell yourself that after you overcome certain habits, after you become emotionally stronger, after you stop struggling with certain thoughts or fears, then maybe you will finally feel worthy enough to rest in my presence without shame following you everywhere. I want you to stop carrying that burden now. Come closer exactly as you are instead of endlessly postponing healing while waiting to become perfect first. You have spent too much time believing that your weaknesses disqualify you from love, peace, and closeness with me. But listen carefully. Your worth was never built on flawless behavior. I have always seen your heart fully, including the places you still struggle to accept about yourself. I know there are moments when guilt quietly distances you from me. You remember your mistakes. You replay your failures. You compare yourself to who you think you should already be by now. Then shame begins whispering that you are too inconsistent, too broken, too emotionally exhausted, or too far behind spiritually to truly experience peace again. But those thoughts are not coming from me. I do not ask you to earn my presence through perfection. Sit with me honestly for a moment instead of hiding behind your self-condemnation. Bring me the parts of yourself you usually try to conceal. Bring me the fears, the habits, the confusion, the emotional wounds, and the exhaustion you keep carrying privately. You do not need polished words. You do not need to pretend you have everything together. I already know the hidden battles inside you, and I have not turned away. Part of your healing begins the moment you stop treating yourself like someone unworthy of compassion. You speak more gently to others than you speak to yourself. You forgive people around you while holding yourself hostage to old guilt. That pressure has kept your spirit emotionally distant for far too long. I want you to release the lie that you must arrive before me already healed. Healing happens while you walk with me, not before. Peace grows gradually through honesty, surrender, and closeness, not through pretending you no longer struggle. Let yourself rest here without constantly fearing rejection. Open your heart now instead of waiting for some future version of yourself to deserve peace. You are already deeply loved, in the middle of your healing process, not only at the finish line you keep imagining. Stop delaying your return because shame convinced you that you must become flawless before receiving mercy. Come closer now. Let yourself be seen fully without fear. I have been waiting patiently for you to stop hiding behind unworthiness and finally allow love to reach the places inside you that need it most. My child, there are parts of yourself you slowly abandoned during difficult seasons because survival became more important than emotional wholeness. Life wounded you in ways that forced you to adapt quickly. You became more guarded, more careful, more emotionally restrained. Little by little, the softer parts of your heart started disappearing behind exhaustion, disappointment, and self-protection. You did what you needed to do in order to keep functioning, but somewhere inside you, a quieter grief remained for the person you used to be before life became so heavy. I know you miss certain things about yourself. You miss the version of you that felt lighter, more hopeful, more emotionally open, and more excited about life. You remember times when your laughter came more naturally, when trust felt easier, and when your heart was not constantly bracing itself for the next disappointment. But after enough pain, you stopped allowing yourself to feel deeply because vulnerability no longer felt safe. Come closer now and stop pretending you do not feel that loss inside you. Your soul hath been mourning silently for a long time. You became so focused on surviving emotionally that you stopped noticing how disconnected you were becoming from your own inner life. Some days you move through routines automatically while quietly wondering where your joy, motivation, or emotional energy disappeared along the way. I want you to understand something important. The person you were is not completely gone. Those gentle, hopeful, deeply feeling parts of your heart did not die. They became hidden underneath layers of exhaustion and emotional protection. Healing is not about becoming someone entirely different. It is about reconnecting with the parts of yourself that pain convinced you to bury. Stop criticizing yourself for how much you changed during difficult seasons. Survival changes people. Certain wounds reshape the way you move through life for a while. But you are not meant to remain emotionally trapped inside survival mode forever. There is still softness inside you. There is still compassion, creativity, peace, and emotional depth waiting beneath the heaviness you have carried for so long. Sit quietly with me now and let yourself remember who you are beyond your exhaustion. Release the constant pressure to remain emotionally guarded every moment of your life. You do not need to keep protecting yourself from every possible hurt forever. Some walls that once helped you survive are now preventing your heart from fully healing. I am inviting you to reconnect slowly with the parts of yourself that still long for peace, trust, joy, and emotional honesty. Let your spirit breathe again instead of constantly carrying the armor you built during painful seasons. You are allowed to heal beyond survival. You are allowed to become emotionally alive again. Stay close to me while that process unfolds gently inside your heart. My child, there have been moments in your life when something deep inside you reacted before your mind could fully explain why. Certain words stayed with you long after hearing them. Certain moments stirred emotions you could not easily put into language. Sometimes you walked away from conversations feeling unsettled without understanding exactly what your heart was trying to tell you. Other times, you felt unexpected peace in situations that logically made no sense to you at all. Your spirit notices things long before your thoughts fully catch up. I want you to stop ignoring those quiet inner responses. Pay attention to what your heart keeps recognizing repeatedly. You have spent too much time doubting yourself every time your spirit sensed something important beneath the surface. You immediately try to explain everything logically because uncertainty makes you uncomfortable. But not every truth arrives through perfect clarity in the beginning. Some truths are first felt before they are fully understood. Come sit with me quietly for a moment and notice how many times your inner peace shifted around certain people, environments, or decisions. Your spirit has been trying to guide your attention toward what nourishes you and what quietly drains you. Yet many times you ignored those signals because you feared disappointing others or because you wanted certain situations to work so badly that you pushed aside what your heart already sensed. I know there are moments when you feel torn between what your mind keeps justifying and what your spirit quietly resists. That internal tension has exhausted you more than you realize. Part of your growth now involves learning to trust the deeper wisdom developing inside you instead of constantly overriding it with fear, pressure, or emotional attachment. Do not rush past the moments that deeply move your heart. Do not dismiss every stirring inside you as imagination. Sometimes your spirit recognizes healing before your circumstances visibly change. Sometimes your heart recognizes truth while your mind is still trying to protect itself from disappointment. There are things I have been showing you gently through repeated feelings, repeated convictions, and repeated moments of inner discomfort that you can no longer ignore forever. I want you to slow down enough to listen inwardly instead of constantly searching for louder external confirmation. Sit with your feelings honestly before dismissing them too quickly. Bring your confusion to me instead of immediately silencing your deeper instincts. You are learning how to hear beyond surface appearances now. Your spirit was never meant to remain numb. It was created to discern peace, truth, wisdom, and emotional honesty. That is why certain things no longer feel right inside you even when they once seemed normal. Something within you is waking up more deeply. Let that process continue instead of resisting it out of fear. Trust the quiet ways I speak to your heart. Trust the moments when your spirit gently pulls you toward peace and away from emotional confusion. You do not need to understand every step immediately in order to begin listening more honestly to what your soul already recognizes. My child, the same spirit within you that recognizes truth before your mind fully understands it is also stirring you now to help this message reach those who are starving for hope. There are hearts I am trying to awaken, people silently trapped in confusion, fear, and emotional darkness, and your giving becomes part of the river I use to reach them. Every super thanks, every membership, and every PayPal donation placed through the link in the description becomes seed planted into eternal ground where souls are being restored. Have I not told you that those who sow beside the waters will reap in due season? I am calling generous hearts to move quickly because this is not coincidence. It is a holy invitation unfolding before you. Some will hear my voice through this message because someone else chose obedience over hesitation. I will honor the hands that pour into my work, and I will send favor, discernment, and unexpected provision upon those who respond faithfully. Do not ignore the stirring inside you. Act now through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, and become part of the harvest I am gathering. My child, you have been in survival mode for so long that rest has started feeling unfamiliar to you. Even during moments when your body slows down, your mind keeps carrying tension as though it must stay alert at all times. You became so used to holding yourself together emotionally that you forgot what it feels like to fully relax without fear, pressure, or internal exhaustion quietly following you. Part of you still believes you must remain strong every moment because life taught you that everything could change suddenly without warning. I see how tired your spirit has become. You carry emotional tension even while smiling. You continue thinking about responsibilities while trying to rest. You feel guilty whenever you stop being productive for too long. Sometimes your body becomes still while your heart continues racing underneath because true peace feels emotionally unfamiliar after everything you survive. Come closer now and stop forcing yourself to carry life as though rest must always be earned through exhaustion first. You were never meant to live in a constant state of emotional survival. Your soul needs more than temporary distraction or physical sleep. Your spirit needs safety. Your heart needs stillness. You need moments where you are no longer bracing yourself for the next disappointment, the next burden, or the next emotional storm. I know why rest feels difficult for you sometimes. Slowing down forces emotions to surface that you spent years trying to manage quietly. When life becomes silent, unresolved pain often rises into your awareness again. That is why you stay busy so often. Activity became your way of avoiding emotional collapse. But avoiding your exhaustion does not heal it. Eventually your spirit begins begging for deeper restoration no matter how hard you try to ignore it. I want you to stop treating yourself like someone who must constantly endure without compassion. Sit with me for a while without trying to fix everything immediately. Let your breathing slow down. Release the pressure to always have answers ready. Allow yourself to admit when you are emotionally overwhelmed instead of pretending you can endlessly handle everything alone. Real rest begins when your heart no longer feels responsible for carrying the entire weight of your future by itself. You have been gripping control tightly because uncertainty frightened you. But constantly living in survival mode has slowly disconnected you from joy, peace, and emotional softness. Listen carefully now. You do not need to earn my presence through exhaustion. You do not need to prove your worth by constantly pushing yourself beyond your limits. Lay your burdens down here for a moment. Let your heart stop fighting so hard to stay emotionally guarded every second of the day. I want you to experience peace that reaches deeper than temporary relief. Stay close to me now while your soul slowly relearns what genuine rest feels like again. My child, there are relationships you stayed in far longer than your spirit felt safe inside them because you kept hoping things would eventually become healthier, calmer, and more emotionally balanced. You kept giving patience, understanding, effort, and emotional energy because part of you believed love meant enduring exhaustion quietly. But instead of feeling seen, supported, and at peace, many of those connections slowly drained your heart until you barely recognized how emotionally depleted you had become. I want you to stop minimizing what your spirit has been trying to tell you for a long time. Pay attention to how your heart feels after spending time around certain people. Some relationships consistently left you anxious, emotionally overextended, or mentally exhausted because you were constantly trying to maintain harmony while neglecting your own inner peace. You carried conversations afterward in your mind. You worried about upsetting people. You adjusted yourself repeatedly just to keep tension from growing. That is not the kind of emotional safety your soul truly longs for. Come sit with me honestly now and release the pressure to keep defending relationships that continuously wound your peace. I know you stayed because you cared deeply. I know your heart kept hoping understanding, loyalty, and patience would eventually heal what felt unstable. But love should not constantly leave your spirit feeling emotionally unsafe, unseen, or drained beyond recovery. Some people only knew how to receive from you emotionally without truly recognizing how much you were silently carrying underneath your strength. You became the listener, the fixer, the dependable one, while your own emotional needs slowly disappeared into the background. Over time, resentment, exhaustion, and loneliness quietly grew inside you because your heart was starving for mutual care, not constant emotional survival. I want you to stop abandoning yourself in order to maintain connection with others. Stop ignoring your exhaustion simply because you fear disappointing people. Healthy relationships create space for honesty, rest, vulnerability, and emotional peace. They do not constantly demand that you suppress yourself in order to keep everything functioning. Bring your heartbreak, confusion, and disappointment openly before me now. Tell me where your spirit still feels wounded from relationships that drain more from you than they ever restored. I already know the invisible emotional labor you carried trying to hold certain connections together. You do not need to keep pretending those experiences did not affect you deeply. You are allowed to choose peace over emotional chaos. You are allowed to step back from environments that consistently leave your spirit feeling heavy. Stop convincing yourself that enduring emotional exhaustion endlessly is proof of love. Your heart deserves relationships where honesty, gentleness, trust, and peace can actually breathe again. Let me guide you toward healthier connection now. Your soul was never meant to survive on emotional depletion forever. I want you to experience relationships that nourish your spirit instead of slowly draining the life from it. My child, there are things in your life that fell apart even though you fought desperately to hold them together. You prayed over them. You invested time, emotion, hope, and effort into preserving them. When they finally collapsed, part of you felt shattered because you believed losing those things meant losing stability, identity, or even your future. But I want you to look deeper now. Some things could not remain because they were built more around fear than genuine peace. You held on to certain relationships because you feared loneliness. You chased certain goals because you thought achievement would finally quiet the insecurity inside you. You stayed in exhausting situations because uncertainty frightened you more than emotional depletion. Fear quietly shaped more of your decisions than you realized at the time. And when fear becomes the foundation beneath your choices, eventually the cracks begin showing no matter how hard you try to keep everything standing. Come closer now and stop blaming yourself for every collapse you experienced. Not everything that falls apart is meant to destroy you. Some things crumble because your soul can no longer survive underneath structures built around anxiety, pressure, people-pleasing, or emotional survival. You kept trying to preserve situations that were slowly suffocating your peace because you thought losing them would ruin you. Yet some of those endings were actually making room for truth to finally enter your life more honestly. I know how painful it felt watching certain dreams, relationships, or expectations unravel. Some endings forced you into grief you never expected. You questioned yourself repeatedly. You wondered whether you failed or whether your life permanently drifted off course. But listen carefully now. A broken foundation cannot support lasting peace, no matter how beautiful it appears from the outside. You were trying to build security while fear quietly controlled your heart underneath. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of abandonment, fear of being left behind. Those fears influenced choices that kept your spirit trapped in cycles of exhaustion and emotional instability for far too long. I want you to stop rebuilding old structures that no longer carry peace inside them. Release the need to force everything back together exactly as it once was. Some things had to end because your heart was being invited into healing, honesty, and deeper emotional freedom. Growth often begins after false stability collapses. Sit with me honestly now instead of rushing to fill every empty space left behind. Let yourself grieve what ended without assuming your future ended too. I am not removing things from your life to punish you. I am guiding you away from foundations that could never truly sustain your soul long term. Trust me enough to let truth rebuild what fear once controlled. Your life is not ruined because certain things fell apart. Sometimes breaking is the first step toward becoming whole in ways your heart could not yet imagine. My child, there is a kind of grief inside you that few people around you fully recognize because it is not connected only to losing someone else. Part of your sadness comes from mourning the version of yourself you thought you would be by now. You imagined your life differently years ago. You pictured certain dream unfolding, certain relationships lasting, certain goal being reached, and certain wounds silently healing. But life moved through directions you never expected, and somewhere inside you, disappointment quietly settled into your spirit. I know there are moments when you compare your present reality to the future you once imagined for yourself. You look at your life and wonder why certain things took so long, why some prayers remain unanswered, or why so much of your energy has been spent simply trying to survive emotionally. You became tired of carrying hope while watching time continue moving forward. Sometimes you feel embarrassed by how different your life looks from what you once expected. Come closer now and stop hiding that grief behind constant distraction. Your heart has been carrying disappointment silently for a very long time. You rarely speak about it honestly because you think you should simply be grateful and move on. But unspoken grief does not disappear just because you ignore it. Some part of you is still mourning the expectations, dreams, and timelines that never unfolded the way you once believed they would. I want you to stop treating your life as though it failed simply because it unfolded differently than you planned. You only see the unfinished pieces right now. I see the full journey, including the healing, wisdom, compassion, and emotional depth that difficult seasons have slowly developed inside you. Some delays protected you. Some detours reshaped your heart in ways comfort never could have accomplished. Sit with me honestly now instead of constantly criticizing yourself for not being where you thought you would be. Release the shame attached to your timeline. Your life is not behind because healing required longer than expected. Your worth is not reduced because certain dreams changed shape over time. Some things had to break inside you before deeper truth could grow. I know you feel tired sometimes. I know there are moments when discouragement whispers that life passed you by while you were busy surviving emotionally. But your story is not over. Do not close your heart to hope simply because disappointment stayed longer than you expected. There is still purpose unfolding within your life, even in seasons that currently feel unfinished. Allow yourself to grieve honestly without surrendering to hopelessness. Bring your sadness to me instead of burying it underneath forced positivity. You do not need to pretend those losses never affected you deeply. But also do not assume those losses are the final truth about your future. I am still shaping your life carefully, even through the chapters you never would have chosen for yourself. My child, as I heal the silent grief inside your own heart, I am also reaching for countless others who secretly mourn the life they thought they would have by now. This message is traveling like fire through wounded places because many souls are losing hope while pretending they are still strong. Your support through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description helps carry healing oil into lives standing on the edge of emotional exhaustion. I am turning pain into purpose, and every act of generosity becomes part of that holy transformation. Did I not promise to give beauty for ashes and joy for mourning? That promise is still alive, and I am releasing it over those who choose to help spread my word in this hour. What you place into my hands will not return empty, for I will multiply what is surrendered with faith and obedience. The enemy wants weary hearts to stay isolated in despair, but together we are breaking through the darkness with truth, comfort, and restoration. Do not wait another moment. Support this mission now through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, and help wounded hearts remember that their story is not over. My child, your heart has been craving reassurance lately because deep inside you are exhausted from trying to carry so much by yourself. You keep moving forward outwardly, but internally there is a part of you quietly asking whether everything will truly be okay. You carry responsibilities, emotional burdens, fears about the future, unresolved pain, and silent pressure all at the same time. Some days you feel as though you are holding your entire life together through sheer effort alone. I see how often you try to appear strong even when your spirit feels overwhelmed. You reassure other people while secretly wishing someone would reassure you too. You continue handling responsibilities while carrying hidden fears nobody fully sees. Part of you has become so accustomed to being emotionally independent that asking for comfort now feels unfamiliar or even uncomfortable. Yet your heart still longs for reassurance, because you were never meant to survive life feeling emotionally alone all the time. Come sit with me honestly for a moment and stop pretending your soul is not tired. You do not need to carry every burden silently. You do not need to figure out your entire future tonight. Release the pressure to constantly hold yourself together perfectly while your spirit quietly breaks underneath the weight. I know how much uncertainty frightens you sometimes. I know there are moments when fear quietly asks whether things will ever become lighter inside your heart again. Listen carefully now. You are not abandoned in this season. Even when your mind feels crowded with worries, I am still walking beside you. Even when answers feel delayed, I have not stopped caring for your life. Stop measuring my presence only through visible outcomes. There are things happening within your heart right now that matter deeply, even if external circumstances still feel uncertain. I want you to stop carrying the future like it fully depends on your strength alone. Breathe slowly. Let your shoulders relax for a moment. Bring your fears openly before me instead of silently replaying them every night. Tell me what keeps your heart anxious. Tell me where you feel emotionally stretched beyond your limits. You do not need polished words with me. I already understand the heaviness you have been carrying privately. Part of your exhaustion comes from believing you must always remain emotionally prepared for the worst. But constantly living in self-protection steals peace from your present moments. Your heart deserves rest too. Your spirit deserves reassurance that does not disappear the moment life becomes difficult again. Stay close to me now instead of isolating yourself emotionally. Let yourself receive comfort instead of endlessly surviving through tension and overthinking. You do not need to have every answer today in order to trust that your life is still being guided carefully. I am here with you, even in the uncertainty, and I have not stopped holding your heart through any part of this journey. My child, there have been many moments when I tried to reach your heart gently, quietly, patiently, but the noise surrounding your life became louder than the whisper inside your spirit. You filled your days so completely that there was little room left for stillness. The distractions were not always harmful on the surface. Sometimes they looked like productivity, endless responsibilities, entertainment, overthinking, or constant busyness. But little by little, your attention became so divided that you stopped noticing how deeply your soul was craving connection, peace, and truth. I want you to slow down now and become honest about how often you use distraction to avoid what your heart truly feels. The moment silence appears, your mind immediately searches for something else to focus on. You reach for your phone, your routines, your worries, your plans, or your endless thoughts because being still with yourself feels unfamiliar. Yet underneath all the noise, your spirit has been quietly exhausted for a very long time. Come sit with me for a moment without rushing away internally. Put down the distractions that constantly compete for your attention. Let your thoughts settle gradually instead of feeding every anxious feeling immediately. I am not trying to condemn you for being overwhelmed. I understand how life slowly pulled your focus in too many directions at once. But your soul cannot heal properly while constantly surrounded by noise. I know there are moments when you feel spiritually distant and wonder why clarity feels harder to find lately. Part of that distance comes from how crowded your inner world has become. Your spirit keeps trying to speak beneath the pressure, but distractions interrupt the deeper honesty your heart desperately needs. Some of the peace you are searching for cannot be found through constant stimulation. It waits quietly beneath stillness, honesty, and surrender. Stop running from silence as though it is your enemy. Sit in it for a while. Let uncomfortable emotions rise without immediately trying to escape them. Some feelings need your attention because they are revealing places inside you that still need healing. I want you to notice how different your heart feels when you finally stop performing, distracting, and mentally racing for a little while. You do not need louder signs from me. You need a quieter spirit. I have been near you through every exhausted season already. Even now, I am reaching toward your heart gently instead of forcing my way into your attention. But you must create room for peace again. Turn away from the habits that constantly numb your awareness. Open your heart honestly before me without needing every answer immediately. Stay here with me for a moment longer. Breathe deeply. Let the noise settle. Your soul has been starving for stillness more than you realize, and I want you to hear my voice clearly again beneath everything that has been pulling your attention away from what truly matters. My child, you have probably noticed lately that certain places, conversations, habits, and environments no longer feel the same inside your spirit. Things you once tolerated easily now leave you emotionally drained. Certain conversations feel heavy even when other people around you seem completely comfortable with them. Some environments that once felt exciting now leave your heart feeling restless, disconnected, or emotionally exhausted afterward. I want you to pay attention to that change instead of ignoring it. Your spirit has been resisting what no longer aligns with the healing taking place inside you. You are changing more deeply than you realize. The version of you that survived by staying emotionally numb, distracted, or disconnected is slowly fading. Your heart is becoming more aware now. That awareness makes it harder to remain comfortable in spaces that consistently steal your peace, feed confusion, or leave your spirit unsettled. Come closer and listen carefully now. Stop forcing yourself to stay connected to things your soul keeps trying to move away from. You already feel the tension internally when certain environments pull you backward emotionally. Part of you notices the heaviness immediately, yet another part fears change, fears disappointing others, or fears stepping away from what once felt familiar. But familiarity alone does not mean something is healthy for your spirit. I know there are moments when you question yourself for feeling this shift so strongly. You wonder why your tolerance for emotional chaos, shallow connection, or constant negativity has changed. But your heart is beginning to crave deeper peace now. Some things no longer satisfy you because your spirit has outgrown surviving on emotional emptiness and temporary distraction. Do not silence the discomfort you feel in places that repeatedly leave your soul feeling depleted. Pay attention to what your spirit has been trying to communicate. Some environments feed anxiety inside you without you fully realizing it at first. Some relationships quietly reopen emotional wounds you are still healing from. Some habits keep your mind distracted while your soul remains exhausted underneath. I am inviting you to become more protective of your inner peace now. Stop giving constant access to things that repeatedly leave your heart feeling heavy. You do not need to explain every boundary to everyone around you. Some distance is necessary for healing. Some separation creates space for clarity, restoration, and emotional breathing room your soul desperately needs. Trust the shifts happening inside you instead of fighting them constantly. You are not becoming cold or disconnected. Your spirit is simply becoming more honest about what nourishes you and what quietly drains you. Let yourself outgrow what no longer brings peace into your life. Stay close to me while your heart learns how to choose environments that strengthen your spirit instead of slowly exhausting it. My child, there are moments when you quietly look at your life and feel as though you are falling behind everyone around you. You compare your timeline to the people you see moving forward, achieving goals, building relationships, finding stability, or stepping into opportunities you once hoped would happen for you too. During those moments, discouragement settles heavily on your heart because part of you wonders why your journey has felt so delayed, so uncertain, and so emotionally exhausting for so long. I want you to stop measuring your life only through visible milestones. You cannot always see what is being formed inside you during seasons that appear slow from the outside. Some of the deepest growth in your life happened during moments where nothing around you seemed to be moving forward at all. While you were focused on the delay, I was strengthening parts of your heart that needed healing before certain doors could safely open. Come sit with me honestly now and release the shame you keep carrying about where you are in life. Stop speaking to yourself as though your worth depends on matching someone else's timeline. You have survived battles that many people around you never saw. Emotional exhaustion, heartbreak, disappointment, loneliness, fear, and internal struggles shaped your journey in ways other people cannot fully understand. Yet you keep judging yourself as though your path should have unfolded effortlessly despite everything your heart has endured. I know there are moments when waiting feels unbearable. You become tired of hoping. You wonder whether life overlooked you somehow. But listen carefully now. Delay is not always denial. Sometimes preparation happens quietly beneath seasons that feel painfully slow. There were things inside you that needed deeper healing before you could carry certain blessings without destroying yourself emotionally in the process. You were learning wisdom through heartbreak. You were learning discernment through disappointment. You were learning compassion through suffering. Those lessons may not feel impressive when compared to visible success around you, but they matter deeply. A strong foundation inside your spirit will sustain you far longer than temporary achievements built on emotional instability. Stop rushing yourself because fear keeps whispering that time is running out. Breathe deeply and trust that your life is still unfolding, even in seasons where progress feels invisible. Your story has not stalled simply because it looks different from what you expected years ago. Some things take longer because your soul is being shaped carefully, not abandoned. I want you to stop treating yourself like someone who failed because your journey required more healing, more growth, or more time than you originally planned. You are not behind in my eyes. Stay close to me now instead of surrendering to comparison and hopelessness. There are still chapters ahead of you that your exhausted heart cannot fully imagine yet. What feels delayed today may later reveal itself as preparation that protected you, strengthened you, and guided you toward deeper peace than rushing ever could have provided. My child, the delays and hidden seasons in your life were never wasted, and neither is this moment I am placing before you now. Just as I have been preparing you quietly beneath the surface, I am preparing this message to reach people who feel forgotten, behind, and emotionally worn down by life. Your giving through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description becomes seed planted into a harvest of restoration for souls desperate to know they have not been abandoned. I am calling my people to become rivers in dry places, carriers of light in an hour where many hearts are collapsing under hopelessness. Remember my words, those who sow generously will also reap generously, and I watch over every faithful act done in love and obedience. What feels small in your hands becomes multiplied in mine, touching lives you may never fully see this side of eternity. I will bless the giver with renewed strength, open doors, protection over your household, and peace that cannot be manufactured by the world. So move now without fear or hesitation. Support this mission through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, and help my voice continue reaching those who think they are too far behind to be redeemed. My child, there is a quiet battle happening inside you between the part of your heart that desperately wants healing and the part that still fears change. You long for peace, freedom, emotional clarity, and deeper rest within your spirit, yet at the same time, certain habits, relationships, and emotional patterns still feel familiar to you even when they hurt. That inner conflict has exhausted you more than you realize. Part of you is reaching toward healing while another part clings tightly to what feels known simply because uncertainty scares you. I understand why change feels difficult for you. Pain taught you to survive through routines, coping mechanisms, emotional walls, and patterns that once helped protect you. Even unhealthy situations can begin feeling emotionally safe when they become familiar enough. You learned how to function inside exhaustion. You learned how to live with disappointment quietly. You adapted to emotional survival so thoroughly that genuine peace now feels unfamiliar at times. Come closer now and stop judging yourself for struggling with this process. Healing is not always comfortable in the beginning. Letting go of old emotional patterns can feel frightening because they became part of how you protected yourself during difficult seasons. But listen carefully to me now. Just because something feels familiar does not mean it is healthy for your spirit anymore. I know there are moments when you feel stuck between two versions of yourself. One part of you wants to keep hiding behind old habits because they feel emotionally predictable. Another part of you feels deeply tired of surviving that way. Your soul has started craving honesty, peace, healthier connection, and emotional freedom more than temporary comfort. That tension inside you is not weakness. It is evidence that change is already beginning quietly within your heart. Stop running backward every time healing starts feeling unfamiliar. Sit with the discomfort instead of immediately escaping it. Allow yourself to outgrow the emotional patterns that no longer bring peace into your life. Some habits once protected you, but now they are preventing deeper healing from reaching your spirit fully. Bring your fears honestly before me instead of silently fighting them alone. Tell me where change still frightens you. Tell me what you fear losing if you finally let go of the survival patterns you built years ago. I already understand how vulnerable this process feels inside your heart. You do not need to transform overnight. Healing unfolds gradually, one honest step at a time. But you must stop choosing familiar pain simply because it feels predictable. Trust me enough to move forward even when uncertainty makes your heart tremble. Your spirit deserves more than endless emotional survival. Stay close to me during this transition. I am not leading you toward healing to punish you with discomfort. I am leading you toward freedom, peace, and emotional wholeness your heart has needed for far too long. My child, there are things I want to bring into your life that your heart has prayed for quietly during lonely seasons. Some of those desires have lived inside you for years. You long for peace, healthy connection, emotional stability, purpose, and rest that does not disappear every time life becomes difficult again. But before certain blessings can fully settle into your life, there are wounds, fears, and emotional burdens you must finally release instead of continuing to carry everywhere you go. I want you to understand something carefully now. You cannot fully receive new peace while gripping old pain so tightly that it still controls the way you see yourself, other people, and your future. Some of your exhaustion comes from dragging yesterday's heartbreak into every new chapter before it even begins. Your heart became so accustomed to disappointment that sometimes you expect loss before joy even has a chance to grow. That constant emotional guarding has protected you from vulnerability at times, but it has also limited your ability to experience deeper peace fully. Come closer now and let your heart become honest about what it is still carrying. Stop pretending certain wounds no longer affect you when they still shape your reactions, your fears, and your relationships. Some pain remained hidden beneath your strength for so long that you forgot how heavy it truly became. But your spirit cannot keep moving forward freely while dragging unresolved grief, shame, fear, and emotional bitterness through every season of your life. I know letting go feels frightening sometimes. Pain becomes strangely familiar after enough time passes. Part of you fears that releasing certain hurts might somehow minimize what you survived. But releasing pain does not erase your story. It simply stops allowing old wounds to control your future. You deserve more than endless emotional survival. Your soul deserves room to breathe again. I want you to stop preparing your heart only for disappointment. Open yourself slowly to the possibility that peace can remain longer than fear keeps telling you. Some blessings approaching your life will require emotional space you have not fully made room for yet. Healing creates that space. Forgiveness creates that space. Honesty creates that space. Rest creates that space. Bring your pain openly before me now instead of carrying it silently another year. Tell me what still hurts. Tell me where fear still controls your expectations. I already know the hidden weight inside your heart, and I am not asking you to release it all perfectly overnight. But I am asking you to stop building your identity around wounds that were never meant to define your future permanently. Stay close to me during this process. Let your heart soften gradually instead of remaining trapped behind old defenses forever. There is more peace waiting for you than your exhausted spirit currently believes possible. But you must stop gripping the past so tightly that your hands remain too full to receive what healing is trying to place gently into your life now. My child, your soul has been tired for a very long time, even if you rarely admit it openly. You became so accustomed to carrying responsibilities, emotional pressure, fear, expectations, and silent worries that exhaustion started feeling normal to you. You move through your days handling one thing after another while quietly ignoring how overwhelmed your spirit has become underneath it all. Somewhere along the way, you started believing that everything depends entirely on your ability to keep holding yourself together. I want you to stop for a moment and truly listen to what your heart had been asking for. Beneath all the pressure, your soul had been longing for permission to finally rest. Not temporary distraction. Not another brief escape from stress. Real rest. The kind that reaches beyond your body and touches the deeper places inside you that have been surviving through constant tension for far too long. Come sit with me honestly now and release the belief that you must carry every burden alone. You were never meant to hold the entire weight of your life on your shoulders without support, peace, or emotional relief. Yet you keep trying. You overthink every outcome. You prepare yourself for worst-case scenarios before they even happen. You replay responsibilities endlessly in your mind because part of you fears that if you stop carrying everything mentally, your whole life might fall apart. I see how hard you have been trying to stay strong. I see the quiet pressure you place on yourself every day. Even during moments that should feel peaceful, your mind keeps racing because your spirit has forgotten how to fully relax without expecting another burden to appear suddenly. That constant emotional tension has drained your joy more than you realize. Take a deep breath now and let your heart loosen its grip for a moment. Stop trying to control every future outcome tonight. Stop carrying tomorrow's worries as though your mind alone can prevent every painful possibility. Some things are beyond your control, and exhausting yourself trying to manage everything emotionally will not create peace. It will only deepen your weariness. I am inviting you now to lay your burdens down instead of gripping them tighter every day. Speak honestly with me about the fears you keep hidden beneath your strength. Let yourself admit where you feel emotionally overwhelmed. You do not need to impress me with endless endurance. I already know how tired your soul has become. Rest is not weakness. Slowing down is not failure. Needing comfort does not make you less capable or less valuable. Your spirit deserves gentleness too. Your heart deserves moments where it no longer feels responsible for carrying every fear, every outcome, and every unanswered question alone. Stay here with me for a while instead of rushing back into survival mode again. Let your soul breathe. Let peace slowly return to the places inside you that have been carrying too much for far too long. My child, this message has been trying to reach you because your soul has been carrying too much for too long while quietly pretending everything is manageable. You learned how to survive, how to function, how to keep moving even when your spirit felt exhausted. But deep inside you know survival alone is no longer enough. Something within you hath been longing for more than distraction, more than temporary comfort, more than simply getting through another day without falling apart emotionally. I want you to stop running from the deeper needs inside your heart now. Stop pushing your pain aside every time it begins rising to the surface. Stop convincing yourself that you must remain endlessly strong while your spirit quietly grows heavier underneath the pressure. You were never created to live disconnected from peace, honesty, healing, and closeness with me. Yet many days you move through life carrying burdens that were slowly draining the joy, hope, and emotional softness from your heart. Come closer now without fear. Bring me the exhaustion you keep hiding behind your routines. Bring me the fear that still whispers late at night. Bring me the disappointment, the loneliness, the regret, the confusion, and the emotional weight you rarely explain to anyone else. I already know every hidden place inside you. Nothing about your struggles surprises me. Nothing about your weakness pushes me away. I know you became tired of hoping after certain seasons wounded you deeply. I know there were moments when your faith felt fragile because life became heavier than you expected. But listen carefully now. Your story is not ending in exhaustion. Your heart is not too damaged for healing. Your future is not ruined because you spent years surviving emotionally instead of truly living in peace. I am calling you now to stop carrying your entire life alone. Release the pressure to control every outcome. Release the belief that rest must be earned through complete exhaustion first. Release the shame that keeps telling you are too broken, too late, or too far behind. Those thoughts are not the truth about you. Sit quietly with me now and let your heart breathe again. Let yourself receive comfort instead of endlessly surviving through tension and emotional self-protection. You do not need to have every answer immediately in order to begin healing. Some peace arrives slowly, one honest surrender at a time. I want you to remember this clearly moving forward. The restlessness inside you was never punishment. It was your soul recognizing that it could no longer survive disconnected from what truly brings life, peace, and healing. That ache inside you was trying to lead you back toward honesty, closeness, and deeper restoration all along. So stop running now. Stop hiding behind endless distraction and emotional survival. Open your heart fully before me. Let me walk with you through the healing you have delayed for far too long. You are not alone in this journey, my child. I have been reaching toward your heart this entire time. My child, this message has been reaching toward your heart because I am calling many of my children out of survival mode and back into living connection with my peace. Right now, there are weary souls searching for one sign that I still see them, one reminder that healing is still possible, and your support helps place that light directly into their darkness. Every super thanks, every membership, and every PayPal donation through the link in the description becomes fuel for this mission to carry my word farther across the earth. I am gathering people in this hour who will not remain silent while hearts are breaking in isolation. Did I not say that whoever gives even a cup of water in my name will not lose their reward? I speak that promise over every giver now, and I declare multiplication, covering, favor, and unexpected breakthrough over those who respond with faith. This is more than supporting a channel. This is participating in a divine work of restoration for souls crying out in secret. So stop hesitating and answer the stirring within you now. Give through super thanks, join the membership, or use the PayPal link in the description and help carry my healing voice to those who need it most. My child, there are people around you carrying silent battles very similar to the ones you have faced in your own heart. If this message reached you at the right moment, share it with at least 3 people you care about, because sometimes a few honest words filled with light can reach someone who has been feeling unseen for far too long. Let this be one small way you remind others that they are not walking through life alone. Before you leave, I want you to do something personal. In the comments, write, "I will no longer live disconnected from peace." Let those words become more than a sentence for you. Let them become a decision your heart finally makes after carrying silent exhaustion for far too long. And as you write it, remember this, my child. This message did not reach you by accident. My child, this was not just another video you happened to hear. Something inside you recognized this message because your soul has been longing for truth, comfort, and restoration for a very long time. Subscribe and remain close to these messages, because I will continue speaking to your heart through moments that remind you that you are never alone in your struggle. Amen.